So I wanted to see Shin Godzilla this weekend, but apparently since I live out in the wilderness, there's only very few chances I get to see it, and none of them match up with my schedule. So Ben Affleck wins again. We're going to see The Accountant. The Accountant, directed by Gavin O'Connor, starring Ben Affleck, J.K. Simmons, Anna Kendrick, Cynthia Addai-Robinson, and John Bernthal. I like this movie. I went to see it because I had heard that it was less actionist than the trailer indicated. Because the trailer was, pretty hardcore. But I was told to think more along the lines of Bridge of Spies, which had like 3 seconds of action during the whole thing. But I was pretty disappointed when I actually had to sit down and watch an action movie, crime thriller. So don't think it's anything like Bridge of Spies. It's still Ben Affleck trying to do his Batman moves, trying to stay in shape, I guess. I feel like I should start by addressing the autism. Ben Affleck did an alright job depicting it, but when I sat down and I saw his emotional detachment from stuff, I was like, oh, sweet, there won't be any kind of like romantic anything. But Anna Kendrick still kept flirting with him, and he was trying to make longful eye glances or whatever. The eye contact thing. Um, I mean, this is my 11th video, and I'm just getting the hang of looking at the camera. So he was somehow higher functioning than me and lower functioning at the same time. Whereas I can at least pretend to be functional so that people, don't suspect anything's wrong with me. I just lack his insane level of intelligence. So I really got the short end of the autistic spectrum there. But yeah, he did all right. He wasn't looking at people too much. There was actually some pretty cool moments where people were talking to him and like looking directly at him, but he was just looking off to the side very uncomfortably. As far as the acting went, I thought J.K. Simmons was fantastic. I was reading him like a book. Cynthia Addai-Robinson, I don't know her from anything. She looked familiar, so if I once I go through her IMDb, I'm sure I'll find something. But she was pretty good. Her character was kind of impotent, I want to say, because it didn't really. It was more a movie about Ben Affleck is a criminal accountant, and J.K. Simmons and Cynthia Addai-Robinson are the Treasury Department agents trying to bring him down. But that's kind of like the C storyline. It's more him dealing with his current crime and going up against a hitman who later you find out is his brother. Or if you're like me, you guessed halfway through that it was his brother. I probably had like the most inappropriate audience for this though, because either they were the most gregarious audience ever, or they're just a bunch of insensitive pricks. Because Ben Affleck as Christian Wolf was doing things that I can understand doing, but the audience thought he was hilarious. They were laughing way harder than I would have ever dreamed. I was getting kind of offended because it reminds me of all the times I say things that people laugh at, and I'm like, how is that funny? I'm being serious. Oh well. John Bernthal played his brother, and they get into this fight scene at the end, and it is Batman versus the Punisher. And it's basically what 20 March of 2015 or 16 is meant to be. If you'd have taken the Punisher out of Daredevil and Batman out of BVS, made him fight, that would have been great. This was presented like a better mystery than Girl on the Train was. I was following along with Ben Affleck trying to figure out his side, and just like him, every time I came to a conclusion, he came to the same one, and then that was defeated in the next scene. So it was like we were in sync a bit. It was nice. It helped me connect to him a little bit more. Because there was a couple parts where I was getting a little misty eyed, and then those assholes in my fucking audience were laughing at him. So well, fuck those guys. It was paced out pretty well. It was a pretty quick paced movie, and unlike Girl on the Train, there was a lot more dialogue, so I was more interested in the scenes rather than just driving past some houses and I'm like, okay, I'm not getting any connections here. There are a few slow parts. There's a part where J.K. Simmons has like 3 flashbacks in a row while he's narrating them. And then the parts where Anna Kendrick is flirting with Ben Affleck, who's I don't believe he's as young as they were saying in that movie. I feel like Ben Affleck's in his early 50s, and they're playing him as maybe 37. Not good. Anna Kendrick's character was cute and lively, but ultimately just like an audience entry point. She asked the questions to Ben Affleck so that he would answer and kind of give the audience a way of wrapping their minds around what he's doing when I didn't need it. I'd have preferred if they could have. I don't want to say leave her out because she was a welcome addition. It's I don't know. I just wish she was more useful because she kind of fell off 3/4 of the way through the movie. She just was asleep in a room, and then Ben Affleck left, and she never showed back up. Even like resolution of the movie, no last little cut to her to see what she's doing. Just kind of fell off. Yeah. In conclusion, I liked uh, I like how cold and calculating the main character was. I liked how he was in a moral gray area where he was essentially a criminal. He was breaking the law. He was uncooking books for various criminal organizations. But the entire plot occurs while he's doing a legitimate job under a fake name, which I guess would be illegal. So he was technically in the good guy position. He was always the protagonist of the movie. I mean, he's the titular accountant, but he was the good guy, and his brother John Bernthal was the bad guy until the very end. What I didn't like was my audience. I didn't like the ride to the theater where we had to stop for some geese because the people in front of me didn't know that geese will move if you drive at them. Not very fast, but if you go like 10 miles an hour, they will get out of your way. That actually has nothing to do with the movie. From my perspective, I thought they gave just enough information on everyone just to kind of answer questions. Sure, a casual moviegoer would probably want more emotional connection to his brother. When they did the flashbacks to the younger version, John Bernthal's younger self never said a word. You had really no reason to believe that they had the brotherly love that was indicated at the end. I was willing to believe it. I mean, it's almost the same relationship I have with my siblings. They love me obligatorily. So that's all I have to say about that. Didn't watch many other movies this weekend. I watched Eraserhead. I didn't really like it. Like I said about how this movie had a lot of dialogue in it, it took 10 minutes and 47 seconds for Eraserhead to say the first word. The rest of it was just grotesque imagery, and that just doesn't work for me. It's not enough to pull me along from scene to scene. You got to say clever shit every so often, or in a funny accent, or at the very least have more than one woman in it. That'd be great. Okay, I see that you're busy. I'll let you go. Bye.